and say, here we are together about 1 week after the Syzygy 1 design charrette in 2011. And I'm talking with Will Saul over Skype, a video Skype call on the internet. And Will has agreed to answer my interview questions. So thanks for being with us, Will. How are you doing?
Really great.
Good. The first question I'd like to ask you is, in your own words, what was the Syzygy design charrette?
The way that I've been describing the Syzygy charrette is that it was charrette in the first place is a French word meaning period of intensive design. So charrette was where 16 of us came together and were designing an ecosystem of regenerative enterprises. And we were looking at business models that were modular, scalable, and bioregionally appropriate, with the underlying aim of kind of shifting the paradigm in which our world is functioning right now to one that's unstable and linear to one that's more resilient and holistic.
Excellent. Thank you. What was your role at the event?
My role was as the key documentation person, or the team leader for documentation. So I was there for the pre-charrette, where we helped figure out how the 5-day charrette would run. And then I was there during the charrette, which was mostly open space, and then the post-charrette of wrapping things up. And as the lead documentation person, I was making sure that all the different media that we were coming up with could be organized in a coherent way, so that it would be useful later on.
Great, thanks. What did you understand my role to be in the Syzygy design charrette?
I saw your role as a couple of different things, Todd. Firstly, you and Gregory had come up with the event in the first place through your work with your holistic goal setting earlier on. And although Gregory was the primary organizer and you were the primary client, you definitely got to shift around roles too and step into designer mode with the rest of us. So I saw your role first as someone to kind of inform us about the general direction and be someone to answer questions about details, and then also someone to contribute to the creativity of which direction we were headed in. So multifaceted, I guess.
In what ways do you think that the Syzygy design charrette created an opportunity for my action learning and skill building?
Well, you definitely got a lot of action learning in that one as part. Although you weren't as much facilitating, you were definitely participating in lots of different pieces. We had one tool we were using was the fishbowl, where some people sat in the middle and some people around observed. So you were participating in that way. You participated in the design process in open space in different focus groups. You got to build your skills in designing and business model development. Yes, and working with a diverse group of people there, since we had people my age all the way up into people in their 60s. It was a all different perspectives. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. So how might have the event contributed to my personal and or professional development?
Well, personally, you commented on that a shift in yourself of being able to, I guess, making space for the possibility of being unattached to a number of different things. One, you talked about the shift of how you might not longer need to be tied to the space that you're at right now, that maybe there's the possibility of you being somewhere else with your family. So that was a pretty big shift. Um, Professionally, it's a shift in a kind of your right livelihood, I guess, is a word we could use, in that you're trying to figure out a way to be providing for yourself and your family in the long term, in a way that's ecologically and socially responsible. And this charrette was a very strong step forward in that direction.
Excellent. Thank you. Next question is, how could the Syzygy design charrette be of benefit to others or add value to their work?
Well, I see that it didn't seem like one of the great things about the charrette, and one of the reasons I'm so excited about the projects moving forward, is that the actual enterprises we were looking at weren't new in upon themselves. It was more it was kind of like innovation, in that we were bringing together a lot of different pieces into a whole system, and that's kind of the value add that we were getting out of the charrette, the kind of big picture, and how the ecosystem that we were creating. So I see the benefit to others being that there's a lot of people who have been working on all sorts of different enterprises that could plug in to our regenerative ecosystem of enterprises. And we're going to need that. We can't do it on our own, but we can be those big picture visionary people who are helping to organize everyone. So I guess the benefit to others is kind of inherent, that there's, by definition, this is a collaborative venture.
Well, and you've led right into my next question, which is, how do you think the outcomes of the Syzygy design charrette might contribute to the field of regenerative enterprise?
So far, one of the big issues with the regenerative enterprise is it's kind of been, one way to say it would be, it's a bunch of hippies that haven't had as much of a business background focusing on regenerative enterprise. And what we were doing in this event was helping to bring some business background to regenerative enterprise and make it function in our current financial system, and be able to transition to a new, more diversified system of capital. So, yeah, I guess it contributed to the field of regenerative enterprise, of making it a lot more viable on a large scale.
And what resources or other tools did you and other participants at the Syzygy design charrette draw upon during the process of design?
Well, there's a number of different ways you could take that. As a lead documentation person, that's the first thing that I jumped to, the technological tools that we used, which there were plenty of them. I have that flowchart that explains how we were using Google Docs, and we were using Evernote, and we were taking photos and video, and we were using whiteboards and markers and big sheets of paper and mind maps and View. So there were all those documentation tools. Then there were also social technologies such as open space, and sometimes I was a little bit reminded of World Cafe. And then we also had the fishbowl that we were using, and so those kinds of social tools. Oh, and we had ceremony built in different place, and movement. That I see those as kind of tools and resources for keeping people in a healthy mode of being. And then we used all the different tools, kind of the different business models out there. Everybody who was at the charrette was contributing a different skill set and different expertise, and those were all sort of tools contributing to the design process, that we needed everyone's perspective to build this bigger picture.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there, so Thanks for that. That'll help me in my build my annotated resource review, and also my digiphone. What was your overall impression of the experience that you had at the 2001 Syzygy 1 Design Charrette?
2011.
Oh,
But yes,
2011, yeah.
The, the overall impression was really excellent. I feel very lucky to have attended it, in that Gregory had talked to me way back in February, and I had no idea what my spring schedule was, and I was a little hesitant at first, partially because I didn't really know what it was going to be about, and also because I had a lot going on back home that I felt that I didn't want to be missing out on. But as soon as I was there, I felt how big a deal it is, and that it's I don't see it as very far out, and I see next steps as very concrete, and the impact of this project to be really far-reaching. It's the kind of potential that's ready right there, ready for us. Hey, Todd, you still have me?
Yeah, I still have you.
Skype faded out for a second there on my end.
Yeah, we had a little hiccup here, but I think it's we can keep moving.
Okay. And the other piece of the... I just feel like we have very clear next steps forward, and overall it was a really phenomenal experience, all the people there and the ideas that we came up with, and yeah.
Great. Last question is just if you have any other comments that you would like to share about your experience at the event.
Well, certainly the people really stood out, as they often do. There were just so many different perspectives there that I don't think we could have worked nearly as well if we had, if it was more skewed towards one direction or another. We had, in some ways, a number of conflicting views, and I think that really helped us. Because if you have everyone agreeing on everything, then it's harder to tell where you might go wrong. When in this case, there were people doubting different components, and I think that's always healthy. I guess the only other comment I would have is I'm just very excited about where it's headed and what we'll be doing next with it. Yeah.
Yes, that is exciting. I share your excitement, and I think we had a really excellent interview just now, despite the technical challenges of using Skype. You know, we're in Colorado, and you're in Massachusetts right now. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then, I heard my phone ring in the background, and I've been hearing my cats kind of running back and forth and contributing to the video interview while we're at it. But all those challenges aside, I think you really did a good job of answering the interview questions and really helped me paint the picture to use in my output packet. So I thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I really liked the flow of those questions there. It felt really natural.
Excellent. Take care.